Hi there, and welcome to today's Road to 50 Million. I have this funny background of a person that looks like they're on a journey going somewhere, and they have a backpack and a funny cat. At least that's what it looks like to me, and some magic and fantasy there. And the reason I did is because I just got an email from somebody that told me they had been living on a boat, and they sold the boat, and they moved to El Salvador. And one of the reasons is because they felt prompted to do it. And another reason is El Salvador is one of the first countries, or maybe the first, to legitimize or accept Bitcoin as legal currency. And in his mind, that created him and his partner some huge opportunity. So he felt blessed because they sold the boat in the middle of winter. And now they're in El Salvador, and he sent me an email. And that's somebody that's on a journey. And so here's for you. I titled this one, 100 for you, and I did it for several reasons. One is, this is the 100th episode of Road to 50 Million. 100 times I've sat here at this microphone in this studio, trying to get comfortable in this chair in front of all kinds of incredible backgrounds, because I have technology that makes it really good and doesn't do the funny stuff around your head and all that jazz. To tell you, you are wonderful. The second reason for the 100 is you are 100. On a scale of 1 to 99, you're 100. Now, you may not know that. You may not believe it. You may think I'm full of crap and that I'm just saying that to have you feel good or because I want something. I don't want anything. I don't need anything. It's weird and joyful to live in a place and manner that I don't need anything, but it's not impossible. Now, I have a request for you. I want you to listen to this deeply and see if this resonates with you, and I want you to share it, maybe on social, maybe with someone else, but I want you to share the message, and here's why. You are 100, and you can do anything you want. You can be anything you want. You can have anything you want. I'll give you some examples. Right now, in another group I belong to, there's the build-up to an event in 8 days in Mumbai, India, the Ultimate Experience, it's called. Now, that particular event is around a book called The Ultimate Coach, which is about a coach who's done a lot of good work for many years. It's someone I happen to know personally and very well, and who I think a lot of. But that doesn't matter. Right now, what matters is there's an event, and this is the third event around the release of this book. First one was in Arizona, which is where this guy lives, and his wife and a friend wrote it. The second one was in London, because someone there was so impacted by the book, they thought, I'm going to put together an event called The Ultimate Event, because the book's The Ultimate Coach. And then someone was inspired to put one on in India. And here's the thing. Nobody's making money on this. This is a choice that some people made, and they have gone all over the world. They've overcome obstacles and mountains and all kinds of stuff, impossible things. And the guy that the book is about, Steve, wasn't going to go speak because he didn't want to go. He doesn't like to do that. And that's okay. He's done some interviews recently, 3 or 4, which is incredible because he hated doing those too. I talked to him about that and all this other stuff. So, but here's the impossible thing in the 100. They've created a huge event. I personally know several people who felt called like they ought to go to this event because it's going to be really powerful. And I'll explain the power in a minute because it has right to do with you. It's going to be really powerful, and they wanted to be there. They felt called to be there. And then immediately the next thought was, I can't do that. I don't have the money because, I don't have time. You got to get a visa to go there, and that has to be in a certain amount of time. And you got to have travel, and I don't know how much it costs to fly there because I didn't feel called to go. But I encourage everyone who does feel called to go, who wants to be there in that room and taste the lusciousness of possibility. And here's the reason. That ultimate event, the ones that have happened before, allowed the people who were there to taste the delicious lusciousness, and I use those two chewy words on purpose, of their own possibility, their own truth and being. I've sat here and said to you a bunch of times that you're infinite, you're eternal, you're capable, you can have anything you want, you can be anything you want. Now, there's a whole bunch of people that have told their stories about how they have moved heaven and earth, moved mountains, because they made a decision. I'm going to do this. It's like the guy who climbed Everest said, as long as there's hesitation, well, I'm going to try, maybe. Then there's some doubt and nothing happens. You're fighting a white-knuckle battle with your will and external circumstances. And the minute you declare, boom, I'm doing this, whatever it is, and you burn the boats, no hesitation, no issue, no nothing, then the universe moves. That firmness in declaration, eliminating doubt and fear, that changes everything. It doesn't just change it in you, although there is chemistry and resolve and power that comes to you, in you, from you, when you do that. But your eternal spirit, that thing that we all feel, that lights up. It lights on fire. Something happens when you do that. And the universe, the law of attraction, smaction, action, doing stuff, it moves. Things happen. Unexpected stuff. Thoreau talked about that in Walden Pond. Move boldly in the direction of the dreams. Live the life you have imagined. Things happen. And I've seen it over and over again. The stories are amazing. Money appeared for people. Opportunities appeared and everything else. Why? Because the bold declaration took place. Now, I don't know where you are in your life, and maybe you've already done everything you want to do. I haven't. That used to bug the crap out of me. I used to feel bad and guilty, like I'd wasted a lot of time because I spent decades struggling with depression and all kinds of sadness and misery. And because I'd done that, I felt like I'd wasted years, decades. And I wouldn't trade any of them, and I don't want any of them back. Because every event that took place in that long string of events has given me experience and has refined me, as have your events. So I don't care where you are or what you want to do. Unless you're saying, I've done everything I want to do and I'm happy where I am and I don't want to do anything or be anything different, which case, perfect. I love you for it, and I hope with all my heart you fully enjoy where you are. But if, like most of us, you feel like you want more, you want to have a bigger impact, maybe you want to make more money, maybe you want to do more stuff, maybe you want to provide for someone, maybe you want to give more, maybe you want to serve at a higher level in a more important and profound way. And I say important not because all service isn't important, because it is, but maybe a larger scale or scope. Maybe that's something you want. And you're sitting around dithering going, I don't know how, I don't know if I can, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like it's the right time, it's not my season, I don't have the money, etc., etc. The big decision is first. I am this thing. I do this thing. Why? Because I said so. I speak it so. BISIS. Because I speak it so. So when I say this is 100 for you, I'm saying you are that person. Right here, right now, you can be whatever you say you are. You actually already are. You've created the life you have by being who you're being. Indifferent, frightened, blaming, externally focused, and maybe none of that applies to you. I don't know. Used to me. I blamed my upbringing. I blamed circumstances. I blamed all kinds of things. And you know what I did most of all? I blamed myself. I'm evil, bad, wrong, and rotten. But it wasn't the kind of blame that caused motion and action. It was the kind of blame that caused destruction. The other night on the interview with Ianla on LA Talk Radio, and if you don't know what that is, get a hold of me and I'll let you know where to find it. It was a fabulous interview. When I interviewed her, we were talking about things, and I said my ultimate addiction was to self-loathing. So my biggest criticism, negativity, naysayer, hate mongering, and everything was me toward me. But whether it's yours is toward other people or towards yourself, it's just noise. It's just sound. It's just a thought. Your thoughts aren't you. Your emotions aren't you. Your wishes aren't you. Your money isn't you. Your status isn't you. You are that spiritual essence that sits in there somewhere between your heart and your backbone, where your heart chakra is. That's the sort of center of it. And there's an intellectual center here too. But you know right here, right now, that there's something in there that's your spirit and your heart. And that thing came from God, or whatever you call it, God as you understand it. It came from that, and you know it. And your mind might have an intellectual story about why this is limited, and that you can't do this and can't have that and can't achieve this, and it's too little, too late, too much, not enough, whatever it is, right? You might have that story, but this doesn't believe that. You may allow your spirit and your heart to be boxed in and locked down, but it never believes it. And you know how you know? Because you always have that yearning. You always have that feeling, if I could just, and sometimes we articulate, well, if I just had the right system or the right help, or if I just wasn't sick, or if I just had a little more money, or if I just had a little more time. I can promise you, not because I'm magic and not because I'm God, because I'm not, but because I have seen it over and over again, that if you make the firm commitment and decide who and what you want, and then pull out all the stops. That's funny because that's a saying from organ, right? Pull the stops out. Pull out all the, because that makes the organ louder and more powerful. If you pull out all the stops and go all in, you can have whatever you want. You can be whatever you want, but it starts with the choice of who you're being. Because what you're doing doesn't matter. What matters is who you are being while you do it. So let's do some really quick examples. If you're supposed to be loving someone, it doesn't matter if it's a partner, a child, a business person, or a situation or anything, and you're doing the motions, but inside who you're being is resentful, negative, I wish I didn't have to do that, they suck, then your doing is powerless. It's fake, it's phony, and you know it and everybody else knows it because it doesn't carry the ring of truth. On the other hand, if you're being sincere and absolutely in the place of love, but what you can do is limited by your physical or other circumstances, it will have 10 times the power of 10 times the amount done from a phony place. And you know that. If I say that to you, you're going, well, duh, of course it's true. Well, it is, and it applies to everything. So I don't care if you want to build a business empire, if you want to repair broken family relationships, if you want to invite people to something you're doing or someone else is doing, but you're afraid. You know, I was talking to Yanlin the other day, she said she had an event on March 11th about relationships. And I didn't mention this on the show because I didn't want to take anything away from that event. And this isn't taking anything away, but I loved what she said about relationships with yourself, with the divine, with every person, because all of life is that. And when I first started on my coaching journey 10, 12 years ago, I had pillars. One was break the cage, one was jumpstart your genius, and one was BPR, build powerful relationships. And I started it with the quantum relationship, which is your relationship with the universe, how you see yourself, what you believe yourself to be, and everything else. And then there's your relationship with yourself. Those are separate. Your relationship with the universe, your relationship with yourself, and then you begin with relationships with other people, and that's all there is. And if you want to build powerful relationships, then you'll have a great life. And I don't have any of the coursework done that I imagined when I thought that. I have it all noted, but Iyanla's got hers done. So she's doing a relationship thing on March 11th. Iyanla.com if you're interested in finding out about that. But anyway, here's the secret. This is 100 for you. I don't know how to say it any louder. You can go on your own adventure like this guy. It kind of looks like E.T. flying in the moon and a mixture of that. I didn't really study the picture. The kitty cat makes me think of magic and stuff. You can go on your own adventure like my friend selling his boat, moving to El Salvador. And the boat was his house, by the way, not because he had, I don't know what he has, but he did the interview we did on my podcast from a boat. And you could see that because of the decking. It wasn't really decking, but when you go down in a boat in the room, the bedroom in there, stateroom is, looks like a boat stateroom. But anyway, so that's what I see that he did. And now it's gone. And now he's on a new adventure. Why? Because he felt called to do it. And guess what? He said, I'm doing this. I'm selling this boat in the middle of winter. I don't know how, but I'm doing it. Boom, he was able to sell it. Boom, he's in El Salvador. Boom, he's on a new adventure. Why? Because he spoke it so. So this is your invitation. You are 100. You can have whatever you want. This is your call to wake up and discover your gifts. And it's interesting because he works on relationship too. The book that we talked about on the podcast was Marriage Uncounseling. Marriage Uncounseling. And he has a whole new approach to relationship exploration and repair and everything. And it was a spectacular thing. Liam Naden, Naden, Liam Naden, he's on an episode of my podcast. I don't know if it's out right now. If it isn't, it will be shortly. Liam Naden, look that up. Great episode on my podcast. Anyway, this is your invitation to be 100. My mission is to help 50 million people discover their gifts and make a choice to serve with them. That's how you'll be happy. That's how you'll make money. That's how you'll get over this fear. You want to eliminate fear? Find your gifts and serve. You want to live with purpose and power? Find your gifts and serve. You want to make money? Find your gifts and serve. You want to make a difference in the world? Find your gifts and serve. That's the answer every time. Find your gifts and serve. You can get mad at me or disagree or do whatever you want, but still the answer. And I'm saying it with all the love in my heart and with all the years and decades of experience under my belt and with all the clients and others that I've helped. If I can help you, this is your invitation. If you want to help me reach 50 million people, this is your invitation. We'll see you tomorrow on the road to 50 million.